morning, everybody. Whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world, this is Coast to Coast. We had a dogfight last night for Thursday Night Football. Finally, a good game on Thursday night, which I'm not gonna lie, I appreciate.
Only took 16 weeks. It only took 16 weeks to get there.
Yeah, well, it was also the last week of my sports bar series for being on location, so I'm not going to have to tear my whole studio down every week now, which is awesome.
Yeah, because your camera's a little askew. You have to turn it.
Yeah, no, it's fine for today.
Exactly.
It's because I set it up and then my dog walked by it, and I was just like, yeah, well, you know what? Here we are.
We're going to roll with it. Somebody didn't get on the same page with each other.
Oh, no, she was totally fine. She just bumped it as she walked by, and I'm like, cool.
I must have been dozed off at the time of that 2-point conversion. How long did it take them to figure out that was a backwards pass?
A while.
It took a little while because it wasn't a super clear backwards pass until you had that over the top view, which isn't one that the refs get to see, right? So that was actually dictated down from the booth.
Yep.
Which is why it took as long as it did, because they were already starting to line up for the kickoff, assuming they'd missed it. And then that gets radioed down that, hey, we got to take a deeper look at this.
Right.
Because there was a clear possession.
Yes,
when
exactly.
he picked the ball up.
Exactly.
Had nobody picked the ball up.
That's what I was wondering. Like, why? If I was a Rams player or if I'm Sean McVay, I'm like, dude, you see the ball on the ground. Pick that fucker up. I don't care what it is. Pick it up, touch it, do something.
The thing is at every level of football, they always tell you, pick up the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Always. Because you never know what kind of weird stuff is going on. And so they always tell you, hey, walk over, pick the thing up. Because in situations like that, it's a random fumble that glances off a helmet, and you need obvious possession to, figure out if it's a turnover or if it's incomplete or whatever. And so them walking over and picking it up, not that he even thought anything of it. He was just picking the ball up. And
he was smart.
Ends up being the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. What they say, play it to the whistle.
Well, the whistle,
had already been blown.
No.
The problem.
Or live ball.
So realistically,
it like it's a live ball, but
realistically, that's the issue.
It could have been.
It's like that. That is really the play. That's what I thought it should have been.
Yeah, when I go back and watch it, I'm gonna see exactly when the whistle blows. Because at the bar, I wasn't entirely sure. Because everybody was a little bit loud about missing it. So it was a crazy play. It was absolutely a backwards pass. First time I've seen that, though. Watched a lot of football. I've not seen somebody get blasted in the helmet and get a 2-point conversion out of it.
Right.
Hey, on any given Sunday, Bo, that's what they say.
Yep.
You never know what's going to happen.
Well, that's why Puka's going to get fined a lot.
A lot.
It don't matter. The moment it goes up on X, you can't take it down fast enough.
No. Someone will screenshot it immediately. He actually has a couple of fines headed his way.
So can someone explain to me what happened with Pua Nakua? I didn't know anything about it, and then I saw him apologizing for stuff before.
Yeah. So one of them is actually kind of stupid. So obviously he kind of low key complained about the refs on Twitter and then took it down. Okay. That one is absolutely going to land you a fine. You can't go after the refs. NFL doesn't play with that at all. The other one was
sure?
There's some things they tolerate, but that ain't one of them. The other one was he had a live stream. Exactly. It was an anti-Semitic gesture. Yeah. The thing is I didn't even know that was I watched him do it. So he rubbed his hands together, and apparently that is some sort of sign for Jewish people being greedy. I would have never known that. Yeah. So he
Yeah, and that is so ridiculous. I tell you what, when I get excited sometimes, I go like this. You know what I mean? It's a common thing that I do
I
and
came.
all of my life. Now
Yes.
I gotta worry about somebody saying I'm gonna be anti-Semitic because I get excited about something. Are
no,
you kidding
that's what I'm saying. Is that one didn't make
me?
sense to me at all. I would have never known that was a thing because I would have been like, I would have just been thinking that was like, oh, money, keep feeding me, right? Like, I don't know. I would have never thought anything about it until I saw the report.
Well,
So-
they weren't
The
doing
fact that
this.
somebody-
They weren't
I
doing
think-
this. They were doing this, like the symbol of greed. I mean, it is the symbol of greed. It's like, that's what they do. But,
Yeah, they're like, like
and I only know that
Smithers.
because I have a
Like
friend of mine that's
Smithers,
Jewish.
you know, when he's like,
Honestly, that's where my brain would have went is Smithers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Some of these things are a little bit out of hand.
so I mean, but realistically, the part of that really is the issue was that he was prompted to do that, and
Yes.
that prompt was anti-Semitic.
Well, and the thing that's really kind of weird about it is it was by his friend who is a Jewish guy. So like, if anybody was going to know that it would be him, right?
Right.
So,
But Puka should have known that when he said, hey, man, do this. It's a Jewish thing. And say, he should have already known, hey, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I don't want to piss people off. Even no matter who this guy is, I don't know how they're going to take it, I would never. Why are people jeopardizing their careers or fines or financials over stupid stuff, man? But it's crazy.
no, and Rob, you're not wrong, right? Like the swastika actually was a symbol of hope before the Nazis decided to mess that thing up. So I mean, and actually, even things that we probably all played as a kid, right, where you'd give the OK symbol below the belt, and if your buddy looked at it, you got to punch him in the arm. Now all of a sudden, that's like a clan symbol or something. I'm just like, what are we doing?
What?
Guys?
Really?
Oh yeah. It's super dumb.
Wow. I did not know
Proud Boys.
that.
There's a Proud Boys.
It's not. Nobody was there to remember what that clan did. Like, oh, we did this well before, like where you're making the OK symbol.
No, what he's saying and what that thing did is it was not associated with it, and then they just adopted it essentially,
Yeah.
and so now it's being associated with it because they're assholes.
So basically, like the rainbow.
So it's kind of funny what
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
it's kind of funny what you just brought up with the swastika, how that was like a symbol of hope before the Nazis like did what they did with it.
Yeah.
My son's middle school has a junior who is 17 right now, going on 18. He's a foreign exchange student that is here from Germany for like the rest of the school year.
Okay.
He has like a swastika symbol on his arm that actually says hope in it.
Yeah.
And the school actually makes him cover it up. Just
There's
because
no
of-
question.
Yeah.
You're gonna cover that up. You put hope in it. I don't give a damn. You
Yeah,
put
but
that
it's just
shit on
like
yourself.
he's like actually from Germany though, like the country
And
that
actually, it's probably backwards. The swastika is probably backwards, but nobody knows the difference.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
I'm saying though, he's like from the actual country that kind of abused what the initial symbol, what that actually meant, and actually has.
Look, hold on a minute. Hold on. I've been to Germany. I've gone to the damn concentration camps. I've seen the look on the German people's face. They are freaking embarrassed about that damn thing and what it represents to their country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know what this guy's
Yeah, but
doing.
when was the last time you were there? I mean, the world has changed a lot since the last
no,
time
you
you
asked me
were
a
there.
question, right? You asked me a question. 2016 to 2018.
Yeah, but even now, that's still 10 years ago. The world has changed a lot. I mean, the kids today are so much different than even how they were 10 years ago.
Mhm.
They really are. So it's like there's so many different things that I would never do that is acceptable now.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to poo-poo past what your experience is there, Jay. But what I am saying is that, I mean, this kid's 16 years old, 15, 16 years old, and he's got a swastika. Truth of the matter is the swastika is an Indian symbol for sun. And that's what it is. And that's the original meaning. That was the meaning before the Nazis got a hold of it. and everything else.
But it's
And
like
so
it's like they say though, Pags though. But once something gets horrifically attached to it, I'm sorry, I don't care. That shit don't mean nothing no more because it ruined it. It ruined it. I'm sorry. It may have used to mean that, but you go ask the German or the Jewish community if they look at that shit like hope. If they want to see that stuff like hope, I'm sorry, I'm going to get political.
Let's calm down. Like, this is a Friday. Let's keep it light, man.
I know, but
It's
I mean, you can't
Christmas.
talk
It's
about
Christmas.
things and then not have an emotion to it. I mean, I'm not trying. I didn't want to go that direction, but once you say that, I didn't bring that up. But once you say that, that doesn't evoke an emotion in me because I've been there and I know what that means.
I mean, I was there too.
I apologize. I didn't mean to go
I've been-
political. You know, I don't do that.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm not trying to poo-poo past your experience.
Yeah.
What I am saying is that kids today don't care about
Yeah.
history.
Mhm.
They just
Yeah,
don't.
Mhm.
And that's
Like the mindset
where
that-
it all kind of falls into
Like the
that
mindset
category.
that
there.
the mindset that a lot of high schoolers and even like early like freshman, sophomore, college students have now when it comes to history, and it's a horrible mindset to have because like our country is shaped because of history. Like our country is what it is because of all the historical events that took place. But a lot of the mindsets of like the kids that I deal with from like coaching in high school and everything now is it's history, it's over and done with, let's move on. Like that's the mindset that a lot of these kids have now, where it's like all this stuff happened hundreds of years ago. I was not around then. Who really cares about what happened? I'm only worried about what's happening now and what's going to happen.
And
later.
the scary thing about that is history always repeats itself.
No, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these students now, like obviously they know like everything that took place before they were even born, or is like how our country is and how the world is. But it's just like they have the mindset like it's happened, it's over and done with. It is what it is. Let's just focus on now and worry about what's going to happen later.
Yeah, if you're not aware of your past, though, you are destined to repeat it.
No, like that they're aware of like what happened, but they don't like. I don't know how to like word it to make it sound like different, but like they don't care about what happened. Like obviously they're aware of what happened because of all like you find it everywhere. Whether it's like the Civil War, World War I and II, like you'll know about that stuff no matter where you go or whatever. Like they're aware of what had happened. It's just that they don't.
That's where you're wrong. It's funny because if you go back and you read history books today versus like when we were in school or our parents were in school, there's been some creative writing to some of the history books.
Oh, I know. I've seen
That's some reworking of some stories.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? The Mandela effect is real.
It is.
Well, wait until next.
No, don't get me wrong. History is always written by whoever won, right? So it's going to be shifted whatever direction it is,
Yeah,
you know.
you're right.
But
Wait until next year when the new history books come out and 9/11 is officially put in those history books because it will be an event that took place 25 years ago.
I mean, they would. That event is in a bunch of them anyway.
No,
It's
I'm just saying
such
like
a major event.
like it's gonna be like one of the things in like all school textbooks like starting next year when all these schools get like their new history textbooks that's now gonna just be printed in all the school textbooks now.
Yeah.
What a time to be. How about that? Who was the Armand St. Brown? Did y'all see that one? Oh, about the flicking of the boogers, and they were talking about it. And he's like, "Yeah, that's kind of a gross. That's kind of a gross thing to be doing on the." I didn't realize he was doing it until he showed it. I'm like, "Well, that is kind of gross. That is kind of. I don't know. It's just weird what they think of to celebrate."
Yeah. Rob, getting it back onto sports. I would kind of say neither,
No.
right? Like there were some major things that the Seahawks need to clean up. But this is what a game of two of high caliber teams look like. Like they go out and they beat each other up, and they have moments where they shine and fall apart. And I mean, you look at again both games with the Rams. Point differential for both games combined is 1 point.
Mhm.
So I mean, these teams are about as evenly matched as you can get.
And like
And the truth of the matter is that the Hawks were saved by the refs in the sky.
Yeah.
They were
On that
saved by the
2 point
refs in the sky.
Yep.
Yeah,
That because I have to imagine that when they blew the whistle and he went over to go grab the ball, like you said, nobody was moving.
Mhm.
The whistle was already blown at that point, and he went to go grab the ball out of the end zone and hand it back to the ref.
Well, and that's why
Had-
I'm going to go back and see exactly when the whistle was blown.
Would it have been if the whistle was blown and then that means it's now the
Yeah,
ball
dead
is
play.
dead and then he
It's
touches
dead.
the ball after it's dead?
It should be a
Could-
dead play.
Yeah,
It-
I was about to say,
it would be the
or they should have at least given the opportunity to retry the 2-point conversion.
No.
maybe.
It'd be a dead play. It would be just like an inadvertent whistle.
Right.
That's during a play, like it's just dead wherever it is. So like when you see a fumble somewhere else on the field and it's picked up and they start running, but they blew the whistle, it's just down where they recovered it because they blew the whistle, right?
Right.
So I'll be curious to see when I go back and watch it to see exactly how that sequence came together. But because there was a clear recovery, like it was the right call in that way. So
Right.
And that just
was
shows
smart
you. And that just shows you like how quick momentum can switch in a football game too, because you look at the possession before that, Sam Darnold gets picked off at the 1 on just a great
Well, and we
scheming
also
play.
had a fumble at the 1.
Yeah, a great
Earlier.
scheming play by the Rams where they brought the defensive lineman up to blitz, and then all of a sudden the lineman drops into coverage, and Darnold just misses him dropping in the coverage and throws the ball exactly where he wanted to throw it, but the lineman was there.
That was actually going to be an interception anyway.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been no lineman though.
If you watch that play, so that D end drops back,
Yeah.
makes a great play, right? Great
Yeah.
hands by a big man. But even if he wasn't there, he was trying to force it
Yeah,
JSN,
Yeah.
and he was trying to throw a laser,
hmm
but the coverage was underneath. And so that was absolutely going to be an interception anyway. Like if he was trying to actually get JSN, he needed to put some touch on it and throw it over the top,
right.
because that was the direction he was open.
But like that was a play that
Play was bad in every possible way. Like if that big man just wasn't there, it's still an interception.
Yeah. And that play could have ultimately, killed all the Seahawks momentum just because you're going in to score. Now you're not scoring, and the Rams are still up by 2 scores at that point. But then Seattle goes down, and then they get the break they did. And I think once the Rams found out that was a 2-point conversion, you could see that they were shell-shocked. Like, what the hell just happened? Like,
Yeah.
wasn't that an incomplete pass? How did they just get 2 points on this?
No, that's exactly why I'm going to go back and look at that sequence and see if the whistle was blown. Like
Because even the announcers didn't even know what was going on.
positive that it was, but
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they just didn't, right? So I'm going to go back and look just because it was, again, such a weird sequence.
And even the announcers didn't even know what was going on. Like even when the NFL rules expert was trying to explain like what they were looking at on the replay, like both Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit were confused. Like I didn't even know that was like a possible thing that could even happen.
Well, I mean, it was a lateral, so I mean, and it was deflected forward by.
That was, I think, what threw everybody off was that it was a lateral, but it got deflected forward, so people didn't even think it was a lateral. They thought it was just like a pass that got like deflected and just went forward.
Well, it was not only was the call beneficial to the Hawks, but because it was deflected forward by the defense,
Mhm.
you can't advance that ball.
Yep.
Right? It's not like it was a fumble where only the guy that fumbled can advance. This was a fumble forward off the defender, so that's just a live ball. Anybody can play it.
And I think
So, I mean, there was just and that's the thing is I don't remember hearing a whistle, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm very curious to go back and watch it.
And I think the best part of the whole play is like usually if players think it's a live ball, you'll see them like
That's a good one,
sprint. You'll see them like sprinting to the ball and like trying to like pounce on it like it's a live ball. Zach Charbonnet just went up to it like so casually and just kind of like walked into the end zone, picked it up, and just kind of stood there for a second. And then
Well, everybody thought the play was done.
that's what I'm saying. It was just like such a casual ending to that play. Like nobody even thought to like jump on it and pounce on it. Like Charbonnet just kind of walks up to it, picks the ball up, and has both.
I mean, think about it. The Rams could have picked that up and gone the opposite direction, and they would have
Yeah.
had to give them 2 points.
100%.
Yep.
They absolutely could have. And yeah, McVay was mad, no question. And they were getting ready to line up for kickoff. So,
Or what would have been worse? Here's what would have been worse: had the Rams picked it up and threw it to referee out of the end zone.
well, it
It
wouldn't
would have been a 1-point safety.
Mhm.
That's that weirdo rule
Well,
that
no,
you
'cause
can
it
get
was
a
picked up.
1-point safety.
It wouldn't have, because it was being picked up in the end zone. So it would have been nothing. Because
Yeah,
they would have
depends on how he did it. Depends on how he did it.
in it, so it'd been like a touchback basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the nose of the football comes out of the end zone,
Well, no,
and
the
then
whole
he
ball,
gets-
the whole ball has to come out. Only the nose has to get in. So to score, you just have to break the plane. For it to not be a safety, the whole ball has to leave.
got you. Well, anyways, just so that you know, the Seahawks are not in the playoffs yet.
Yeah, they clinched it last night.
They did not. They did not clinch it last night. They
set
have a
it on-
99.999% chance, but there is a way that they could get out. There's a lot that would have to happen to make that occur. But the first thing is that they'd have to lose both games. Green Bay would have to win out and lose the division. And by doing that, and by Chicago winning the division, and by the tie, what would happen is that Seattle would be out of the playoffs as a 12-win team.
How would they be out though? Because the Lions have 6 losses.
Doesn't matter. The Lions wouldn't even be in the playoffs.
I'm so confused.
So you would wind up having 2 teams,
Yeah, they have
instead of
they have the
3
Seahawks.
teams
as
from the
clinched.
West.
They have the Seahawks as clinched right now. They have the Seahawks and Rams as the
No,
only teams that are
the
clinched.
Hawks are in. That win clinched it.
Yeah, the Seahawks
Okay.
and Rams
It
are the
doesn't
only,
show it clinched on my side here,
yeah.
and they're usually really good about this stuff. So
Yeah, if you go to the NFL playoff standings right now, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Broncos are the only 3 teams that have clinched right now.
but anyways, they did not.
I call fake
So
news
here's-
on Pags. Fake news.
So here's the rules on what has to happen. If by chance the Seahawks beat the Panthers, the Rams cannot win the division.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
So
there's
they
an
got to
X
be
next
win
to
that.
Seattle's the X.
Yeah, 'cause
However-
they're the tiebreaker.
However, that does not mean that the 49ers, if the 49ers win out, including beat Seattle,
Yes.
they would have the better division record, and the
Correct.
49ers would not only win the division, would win the number 1 seed.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's going to be 3 teams coming out of the West. There's no doubt about that. I cannot imagine
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't come out
No,
the
it's
West.
just super convoluted about winning the division
Yeah,
itself.
right now.
Yeah.
Right now, when you look at the
The
NFC playoff standings, there's only 2 teams really that are fighting for a spot. Like obviously, you have the Bucks and Panthers fighting for that NFC South spot for the 4 seed, and then it's going to come down to the Bears and the Lions for that last spot because right now the Bears are 10-4, but with games against the Packers, the 49ers, and the Lions to end the season, the Bears could drop all 3 games and go to 10-7, and if the Lions win out, then they're 11-6 and pass the Bears anyways. So the Lions can still get in. They just have to win out and hope Chicago loses out, which Chicago has the type of schedule where they can lose out because those 3 games those are not going to be easy.
No question. Yeah.
So the Rams can only win the division if Seattle loses to the Panthers.
Yeah, they have to lose both games.
And no. Actually, if they beat the 49ers, because the 49ers has to lose at least 1 game to remain out of the division.
Yeah.
So if by the Seahawks beating the 49ers, the Rams would win it on the 5th tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of victory, the combined winning percentage of all the teams you've beaten. That's where it would fall. If it wound up being a tie there by a chance, the strength of schedule would also go towards the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And then,
I didn't
'cause
put them on there because they get Minnesota week 18. That's kind of why I didn't say Green Bay was going to lose out because they get the Ravens and Minnesota their last 2 games. So I think Green Bay is going to easily win 1 of their last 3.
I wouldn't have the Ravens as an easy win.
No, like Minnesota's a game that I'm considering, and like they'll probably just crush Minnesota in week 18. So even if they go lose the next 2, they'll probably still get in because of that.
Yeah.
But like the only seed right now that I think is there's only 2 seeds in the NFC right now that I think are solidified. I think the Eagles are going to be a lock for the 3 seed. And I think obviously the NFC South winner is a 4 seed, but every other seed in the
I disagree with that.
Yeah,
I
you
actually
just look
think
at
that the
the tier.
Eagles are going to wind up being the 2 seed.
the
And I
4 seed
think
is
that's
like
because Chicago is going to wind up losing. I think that being the case, the Eagles' best case scenario is to be in the number 2 seed.
Yep.
Yeah.
The number 3 seed is too tough of a road.
Yep.
I'll be honest.
Well, I mean,
But-
2 or 3, you're getting a team out of the West.
Right.
Correct. No, 3 or 4, you're getting a team out of the West.
You have the 4 versus
The
5.
2 is going to be either playing Green Bay or Detroit or even Chicago in the mix.
Yeah,
So,
so you're right. 2 would be the best path.
Yeah, so I take that back. The 4 seed in the NFC is the only seed that is solidified because that's going to be the division winner from the South. Otherwise,
That is correct.
The other 6 seeds, you could see 3 or 4 different scenarios in the next 2.5 weeks of who gets the 5, 6, 7, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, and it's a very small chance. You're going to say that the division winner from the West is going to wind up having the 1 seed. I mean, short of that, because if the 49ers win out, that means the Bears have lost another game because they're playing each other next Sunday night or Monday night even.
Sunday night,
I don't even know.
I think it's Sunday night.
And then, so ultimately, that's what – and I need that. I need the 49ers to win. I almost want the 49ers to be the 1 seed. That's my perfect scenario. Because then, as the 2 seed, everybody's got to come to Philly, which makes that a hell of a lot easier.
Sure.
And ultimately, I think that Seattle or the Rams could beat each other. But imagine that game, the Rams in Seattle playing in a division playoff, which I think is very possible. Yeah. Saying that it's, usually as long as somebody doesn't, Tampa Bay or the Panthers, if they have a losing record when they go into the playoffs with an 8-9 record, at that point, all bets are off because every time a team has a losing record and goes into the playoffs, they win their home game. So it's just that's just common knowledge for whatever reason. So being the 4th seed, and all of a sudden they're going to be taking out the Seahawks, as the 5th seed.
Right.
But I ultimately, thinking about that, I foresee Seahawks, Rams, like division matchup almost.
Yeah.
I could potentially see an all NFC West NFC Championship game too.
That would be weird.
Because if you have if you have the
It
1,
is
4,
entirely possible.
because if you have the 1, 4, 5, if you have the 1, 5, and 6, for
Right.
example, if the NFC West is the 1, 5, and 6, I think the 5 seed's going to knock off the 4. I think the 6 seed would have a great chance to knock off the 3, depending on who gets the 3. And then one of those teams is going to get the Seahawks in the divisional round. The other seed would get the 2 seed. I think it could end up being an all NFC West NFC Championship game, depending on who the matchups are in that divisional round.
It's definitely possible.
And that's why I think that the Eagles having the number 2 spot is either going to have to play, saying that everybody holds weight like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the Eagles would wind up playing the 5 seed as the number 2 seed.
Yep, which would be the 49ers or the Rams in Philly, and then the 6-seeded 49ers or whatever. Would go to
At this very second.
Yep.
Obviously, that could flip-flop around depending on what the 49ers do, depending on what.
Oh, of course.
Like the best thing that happened yesterday happened for the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
The 49ers actually also own their path to the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Seattle owns it, and so does the 49ers. Everybody else needs help.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think we'll see anybody sitting players as we get closer to the playoff time?
Not right now. There's too much seeding on the line in the NFC.
I was
right
going
now.
to say,
I'm saying once that, do you think that? I guess I'm really referring to the last week.
So that's the thing, is probably not, because so many of these need both of these games to get decided.
Like
So
the NFC West will be decided week 18. You can't afford to sit people until
Exactly.
week 18. Same with the NFC.
And the
North.
Eagles, and thinking about that way, say the Eagles win this game, against the Commanders, and then they win in Buffalo, you think, oh, well, maybe they'll rest their guys in that last Commanders game. To keep the number 2 seed, they wouldn't be able to do that.
Exactly.
Because if they lost, and who knows what Chicago's going to be doing? Obviously, there's a lot of different things, and I have a feeling, I just have a feeling that, again, I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on right now, that this is going to be a very difficult game for the Eagles to win due to calls done by the refs. They're going to call a very strict game.
Yeah.
Here. And I mean that in a good sense to the refs. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that they're fixing it. But what I am saying is that they're going to call a very strict game, and they're going to give Washington every opportunity to win because they want the drama to continue a little bit more for another week. Yep. And the Eagles being in the number 3 seed is no bueno.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's not it.
If you had to ask my opinion, like how things are right now, if everything stays the way they are heading into Week 18, the only 2 teams that I could see resting starters would be Denver because they would have the NFC West clinched and home field clinched, so they wouldn't have anything to play for, and then either Carolina or Tampa, whoever's got the NFC South clinched.
Yeah, and do you want to rest because then you get a second week of rest?
Yeah, but they might play starters. They might play starters the first half and then sit in the second half. But like theoretically, the only team that might like rest their starters the whole game is going to be Carolina and Tampa. Whoever has that division
but they're not because they play
They
this
play.
weekend, and then they play again.
Well, no, but if let's just say Tampa beats Carolina this weekend, and then Carolina loses to the Rams. Well, then Carolina's out Week 18, and then Tampa can rest the starters that way.
Well, that's assuming they win out,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah,
that's assuming Tampa wins in the second.
I mean,
Exactly.
this really.
I don't think they do. I think both those teams are.
Tampa is playing the Dolphins.
Yeah, but I think
Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers.
losses.
Yeah.
Tampa's had bad losses, especially because of all the injuries they have. So I would bet that week 18 game matters for them.
So you could maybe only have.
Well, I have a feeling that's what's going to be Sunday Night Football. They're going to make that the Sunday Night Football. They're going to flex that game.
Or do you think it would be Seattle and San Francisco? If the division is on the line heading into Week 18 for that game on Sunday night.
That could very well be too.
Because it's West Coast, so you would just put them as the late game anyways, just because that would have a lot more bearing on who gets the 1 seed, who gets the 4, the 5, the 6, all that stuff.
Then you would see that in that case, you would wind up seeing Tampa Bay and the Panthers play on Saturday.
Yep, it'd probably be the 7 o'clock game Saturday night, and then the Niners and Seattle would be flexed into Sunday night. That's really, when you look at the schedule, that's really the only game that makes sense for that last Sunday night game on Week 18 because it has so much implications for the
barring everything holds true, that everybody holds, carries their share of the water.
Because that can literally shift like 5 teams around in the NFC playoffs if like San Francisco were to beat Seattle. Now you have like everybody will be shifting in the NFC playoff picture versus if Seattle wins, then the seeding still pretty much stays as what it is right now for the most part.
Why are they doing Saturday? Why is the NFL doing Saturday games?
I don't mind it, honestly. College football's done. I don't mind it.
No, I was just curious why they do.
They do it. They start it after the Army-Navy game.
There's
Right.
no college football besides the bowl games, but the bowl games take place every day during the week once the Army-Navy game's done. Like there's a bowl game that was last night. You have the college football playoffs today and tomorrow, but
Yeah, Delaware won the Cure Bowl.
yeah, first ever bowl game for Delaware.
The Blue Hens won the Cure Bowl. Yippee-yay.
They get Xbox for life.
So, anyways, so yeah, it's a very murky.
Rob, to answer your question here, the takeaway that I had is the Seahawks, if they're going to make a run, they're going to have to figure that offensive line out.
Yeah. I have it figured out for you. Don't start Bradford.
Well, and with cross out, like there was a real issue at tackle also. Yeah. So I thought that there was going to be a little bit better fill in there, but it just didn't translate well. Obviously, Bradford's just an issue. I don't know why they haven't pulled him out and thrown Haynes in instead. But even the rookie Zabel was getting beat up on in that game. There were a few times that he just straight up missed the block altogether and gave up a free rusher that just blasted Darnold. So, I mean, it's there's some very real issues with those guys up front. If you're going to go against, if you're going to make a run in the playoffs, you're going to have to figure that out, because obviously they got lucky to sneak by the Rams. But obviously you can't have Darnold turning the ball over, but he also can't be, inspecting the grass constantly either.
Right.
So
this year, I think in general, look, from both the NFC and the AFC, I think this has the potential to be one of the best playoffs that we've had in a long time. When you just look at the quality of teams, the caliber of teams, and just how good a lot of these playoff teams are top to bottom on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think based on what we've seen so far, your Super Bowl champ comes out of the NFC.
Yeah. I mean, take away, obviously.
Birds.
Yeah.
Take away, like,
obviously,
yeah. Take away the Saints and the NFC, or not Saints, but the NFC South division, where that division has been crappy now for 7, 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
The rest of the playoff field has actually earned getting into the playoffs when you look at just how good some of these teams are. Like the NFC West being as loaded as it is, like those teams have earned it. They've beaten up pretty much everybody outside of the division and then just knock each other out in the division. NFC West with the Broncos and Chargers, like they've proven that they've overtaken the Chiefs.
The AFC West is weird because the Broncos, the way they play, could be a real problem when
because they don't try until the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And then the Chargers, they're just so wildly inconsistent, right? So that's where they can get exposed, because, I mean, that's the thing that is great about football, right, is once you get in the playoffs, you're one and done. So all you got to do is have a Chargers team that, randomly forgets how to play football.
Or a Justin Herbert playoff game last year where he decides that he has 2 interceptions during the regular season, then throws 4 in the playoff game.
No, and that's the thing is the Broncos and the Chargers are both, they have some very real flaws to them that could get, exposed in the playoffs. The good thing for them is the AFC isn't as stacked as it generally is. So one of those two teams is probably going to represent that division. But
the real conversation in the AFC this year, though, I think is going to be surrounding Josh Allen. And now that Patrick Mahomes is not in the playoffs, if Lamar Jackson and the Ravens don't get in, is this the year that Josh Allen finally kicks the door down, because the only guy that's been able to beat him in the playoffs has been Patrick Mahomes. So if he can't get to the Super Bowl the year that Patrick Mahomes is not in the playoffs, you're going to start asking some questions about Josh Allen if he can ever get his team there.
Yeah. No, and Rob, that's exactly what we said. One of those teams that go in with a losing record for whatever reason, they win that first game, probably because they're playing with house money. They're as relaxed as you can get. Mm-hmm. So you do have to be, leery of that a little bit.
I do have a question for Pax. With as good as the Eagles and the Rams are playing right now, and with the issues you guys have had within your offense, how do you see the Eagles matching up against those two types of teams going into the playoffs?
Defense.
Well, the defense is, the defense is a lot stronger. The Rams won the first half. We won the second half.
Yep.
Now, does that mean that they, for some reason or another, Sean McVay doesn't like to beat the Eagles? Can't beat them.
Did in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, it's like he lost last year. They've lost the last time they went to the Super Bowl. And like I said, the Rams, Sean McVay is not very good. I think what happens, honestly, I think he outcoaches himself.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that obviously it was luck that the Eagles were able to block a second field goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That has to do with luck. Actually, that has to do with really good coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only did they exploit the weakness once, they were able to do it twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and the fact that bad coaching on the Rams side, that they didn't fix the problem after the first block. So I'm not as concerned about the Rams. I am more concerned about Seattle. And I also think that the 49ers coming out to Philly, the 49ers have won in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Now, I have a feeling that if we were in a playoff game against the 49ers, it's the last playoff game, they got their butts handed to them. You know what I mean? And that'll be shown all over the place.
Wasn't
You
that the
want
game
to
that
talk
Brock
about
Purdy
the
got- wasn't that
49ers
the game
getting
that
their
Purdy got hurt,
backup.
though? Wasn't that the game that Purdy got hurt though, where he hurt
Yeah.
his elbow in like the
Yeah.
first drive or the first quarter or whatever? It was
Correct.
like a 7-7 game when he got hurt, and then after that it was like 34-7 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I mean, that game got so out of hand. Like you even had CMC take a snap because they were
A few of them, yeah.
quarterbacks.
They changed the rule on quarterbacks because of that game.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like, okay, we're down to our fourth string quarterback. Oh, he got hurt. Now we don't have any quarterback.
Now
Yeah,
they're like,
and
oh, CMC, you're doing everything anyway. Why don't you take some snaps, buddy?
Put Debo in the backfield since they used him as running back 90% of the time in San Francisco.
Hey, here's your arm wristband. You're the new quarterback.
I
No,
don't
he
need to,
legitimately took a couple of snaps before Purdy gutted it out and came back in and was terrible. But
Yeah, but couldn't throw the ball. Like he had to
Exactly.
hand it off. And
that is
Yeah,
the
there
one
was
thing I
nothing.
will say about McVay though. Like as good of a head coach as McVay is, a lot of the losses he does not necessarily outcoach himself, but he gets too cute. Because there's times where you're up by 6 points with like 3 minutes left, and all you got to do is run the ball to run out the clock, run the ball to run out the clock, and then he'll be like, 3rd and 4, let's just try a pass on this and just see what happens. And all of a sudden, it's an incomplete pass. You save that team one timeout, and then that team goes down and scores, and now you're in overtime or you lose.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on, I'm a fan of continuing on with what has won you the game.
Mhm.
Like when you get out of some of the things that's working, like on defense, I always hated prevent.
Oh, I
As
hate
soon
that.
as that was called, I was immediately mad.
yeah.
Basically, you are conceding yardage, so you can get
Yes.
them into a rhythm, right? And on offense, if you got an offense that's just clicking, I get the, wanting to run the ball and run out time. But if you're effectively going 3 and out by running the ball, you're giving them the ball back anyway.
Yeah.
So I would rather see you continue on with some of the things that are working. Maybe they're
Right.
short passes so that they're a high percentage play. But
Well, back in this, remember the Super Bowl game between the Patriots? Remember the Super Bowl game between the Patriots and Atlanta? And Atlanta was putting all the pressure on Brady. Brady really wasn't doing much, and they were kicking them 28, or they had them up going into half, and then they took the pressure off the second half, and then Brady went to work. So I was like they were conceding a little bit to Brady, not putting the pressure.
that's actually not what happened there.
That's what it looked like to me.
Well, no. So what happened is that the defense was killing Brady,
yes,
and they wound
Yeah.
up getting 2 turnovers that scored for touchdowns. The Atlanta Falcons offense had not been on the field since like midway through the second quarter to midway through the third quarter.
Yeah.
It was like a total of like 58 minutes
Yeah.
that the
And
offense did not touch the field. And even though they tried to get things going again, they couldn't.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It was
that's
like
what
they-
Kyle Shanahan said. He's like,
They
when
got
you're,
stagnant.
as an offense, when you're off the field that long, Kyle Shanahan said there's no way that if you're off the field for 30 plus minutes of game time and almost hour and a half in real time, when you look at like the halftime show and everything else in between, it is almost impossible for your offense to get in some kind of rhythm because the players are just sitting on the bench. They're just standing on the sidelines. They're like, oh, well,
Well,
we're
I
still here. We're still here. We're still here. And then you go out there and one thing goes wrong and then it starts spiraling.
Another Super Bowl that was exactly that way was the Niners and Ravens.
Mhm.
Like
with
that
the
was-
power outage.
yeah,
power chip.
all of that downtime with the power outage,
Help the
and
Ravens.
that was a wildly different game.
Because the 49ers were dominating the Ravens up to that point on both sides of the ball. And then all of a sudden you have the power outage. And all of a sudden, like, the Ravens were able to regroup. And the 49ers are like, oh, now what do we do?
Wow.
You lose. That's what you do.
Yeah, you do.
That
So,
was the
yeah, no, it was
Harbaugh.
the-
that was the
it was the
Harbaugh
Harbaugh Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yep, the Harbaugh Bowl.
But I agree with you. I don't think you should never take the gas off of a team. I don't care.
No,
The team can come
shouldn't
back.
you shouldn't take it off, but you also shouldn't get away from what's working.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, no, for sure.
That's where when you're watching, it always makes me mad. Is you're like, okay, there's no reason to get away from the thing. Like, yeah, okay, you're passing, and if you get an incomplete pass, it stops the clock. But you've been highly successful at it all day.
Mhm.
You're putting up points all day. Now you're going to run the ball, which you have not done particularly well. But you're like, we're trying to run out the clock. Well, you know what runs out the clock? Moving the sticks. Moving the sticks moves the. If you're 3 and out, you know who gets that ball back? Oh, the other team that's trying to score. So, yeah, I've never been a big fan of it. Like, obviously, if you're in a situation where you can run the ball and even a 3 and out is going to give them like 15 seconds, sure, I get it. But if you have a couple of minutes left, don't deviate from what's winning you the whole game.
Right.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Me too. I agree.
I mean, honestly, that's what helped the Seahawks win that game. Long before that second score and the glance off the helmet and all of that, you saw the Rams start to get out of what they were doing well.
Yeah.
Because
Not only that, and the
had
Rams.
had they continued just picking apart the middle of the field, Seattle couldn't defend the middle of the field to save their life.
Just as
And that was against the run or the pass.
Yeah,
They
was
had
that
no
2,000?
answer
Was
for
it
the middle of the
225 yards? Yeah.
There was no answer for the middle of the field. But they started getting away from it, which is how in the final like 8 minutes of the game, you saw a bunch of 3 and outs. They were punt. And it's because they were now getting out of what was winning them the game.
Right. I will say this now, like now that you've seen Matthew Stafford with the Rams now for 4 or 5 years,
Okay.
you do really have to appreciate the way he plays as a quarterback. Like he never got the love and respect he deserved in Detroit because Detroit was terrible when he was there, and he got his ass kicked behind that offensive line because the offensive line was terrible. But yet he put up amazing numbers every year.
I was going to say, what are you talking about? He was a fantasy football monster.
But fantasy football monster. But he never got like the media love and respect that he gets now, just because the Lions were so bad. It's like Matthew Stafford has been one of the best quarterbacks of like this generation of football for so long. Like he throws such a pretty ball.
Yeah, I just say with the Rams defense, they could not stop the run to save their life, man. They gave him so many big runs in that game. And I like the way Seattle, on the one big run that he had, it wasn't even a run, it was more like a screen pass to him, and then he just went up the field.
Shaheed? Yeah, that was an end around. So,
man, that was good stuff.
He was obviously that punt return for a touchdown was awesome. And it's why Seattle is listed with the best special teams in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the only one with a positive plus minus. So
as long as I wish those quarterbacks could have put a little bit better coverage on Puka, because Puka was just murdering them.
Well, no, and that was the thing. With Adams out, I really didn't get why they weren't bracketing him. Like they were playing a lot of zone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They should have had like a man zone scheme where they had somebody following Puka and a safety that was bracketing, right? Basically, dare that team to beat you any other way. Don't let Puka Nacua go off for a bunch of scores and a ton of yards. And like, you can't do that. You can't play the soft zone that you were everywhere else and let him carve you up. Do a, man zone scheme where you're manned up on him. You get him some help. And then you're like, okay, you know what? We're taking your best player out. I dare you to beat us with somebody else. And if they do, hey, awesome. But you can't let their main guy get you.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree 100% on that one. Like you said, if it wasn't for that 2-point conversion, it wouldn't have been Seattle. That would have been the Rams. And that just happened that Sean got that one.
Yeah, well, and then the one at in overtime.
That was a perfect.
I don't know how you leave the guy I don't know how you leave him that wide open. How does nobody follow him?
Because I think the Rams just thought he was blocking. Was he lined up?
Was that Ferguson or
no? It was the guy.
Both of their safeties were in the middle of the field, though. Both the safeties were back. Like someone could have easily come up on that play.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm glad they didn't. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that had to fall the Seahawks' way for that to work out, especially after Sam throws a couple of touchdowns, or I mean, a couple of picks and the fumble. And I mean, there's just there was a lot that went into that. And yeah, exactly. The Rams push a gimme field goal. Really, that thing just never cut back. It faded all the way to the right and missed. So I mean, like there's a lot of things that kind of went the Seahawks.
And the other thing that I thought was very odd that Seattle got away with, that the end of the second half, it was like they had 3 possessions that happened in 10 seconds. It was like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And Seattle kept calling the timeouts. Now, the Rams couldn't move the ball at all, but they wound up, Seattle ran out of timeouts, so they just ended the half, especially after the sack. But realistically, it was, the Rams moved the ball with Seattle calling the timeouts. They actually still had 2 timeouts left. They could have still moved that ball down the field. It was odd that it didn't happen that way and that they wound up getting away with it.
I think it was because of where they were on the field, because the sequence that you're talking about, they did still have 2. They had it was like maybe 20 seconds left, but they were on their own 20. So they would have needed some pretty good sized chunk plays, and they weren't moving the ball. So I think that's where they were like, hey, you know what? Let's just shut it down. It's not like they were close. Like if they were at the 40, they would have been doing something, but because they
that's what I'm saying. They made one play and they gained like a few yards, and that was that. That was really the end of that. And there was like, okay, they ran out of timeouts. End of story. It was just odd. And of course, that fumble that they got on the one, but momentum brought them in. I knew that they were going to call that a touchback. That Seattle was like, screaming that, it should be down on the 1. It's not how that works. You know what I mean? That was a touchback all the way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I thought, I felt like Darnold they didn't get JSN involved until towards the end.
Well, so what I was saying they should have been doing to Puka is exactly what the Rams were doing to JSN. Is they were grounding him, and then how he started to go off later is the defense got tired.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he was starting to get a little more separation than he was in the first half, and it worked out for him. But
I think with Darnold last night too, I think he kind of not necessarily proved it because he's got the most wins in the NFL the last 2 seasons as a starter. But last night, I think kind of solidified that he can't win the big game. Like last night, Darnold, he struggled the first 2.5 quarters.
Well, he got bailed out by his team.
When they needed
that wasn't on Darnold.
No, but when they needed him, he came through when they needed him and won the game when they needed him to.
He threw some lasers for sure. Like he threw some that you're just like, ooh, that was a tight window. But then he threw some that was like, oh, that was to the other team. Like there was no one else to throw it.
like in the 4th quarter and into the overtime, when they needed him to make a big throw and when they needed him to win the game, he made the throws and made the plays they needed him to make.
Yeah. No, he played well at times, and that's the whole issue with this offense is they're just not consistent. Obviously some of it is because the offensive line is the way it is. And some of it is just Darnold, randomly making bad decisions, like the one that D end caught. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've had him on my fantasy team, and it's been kind of rough to watch Darnold this season, just because he just has not looked like he's gotten into a lot of good rhythms in the games. It's been a little rough.
Yeah, he's kind of struggled down the stretch here a little bit. Some of it is the gunslinger mentality of it, which throw some picks, right? Like you watch Brett Favre do it forever.
Yeah, we did.
You watched him do it all. You watched him do it all year in Minnesota last year, just because that's pretty much how that offense was last year. Was just chuck it to Anderson and Jefferson. We don't care what happens. One of them will catch it.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is when you have the mentality of my guy's down there, like some of those aren't going to hit. So I mean, you don't like to see it, but you also don't want to see situations where teams aren't pushing the ball either, right? So if you're pushing the ball downfield, picks happen. A couple of those, I mean, especially that last pick, that was just such a bad decision, right? But if our guy doesn't fumble on the one, presumably they score on that play, so the game's totally different at that point too. So I mean, there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda during that game.
Yeah.
Scott, I would say it's a 50-50 that Seattle wins their last two games.
The last two.
That San Francisco game is going to have so much meaning for not just the Seahawks, but for the 49ers also, knowing that they can win that division yet.
I mean, you can't even say that that's not true for their next game against the Panthers.
Yeah.
So, because the Panthers absolutely want that game.
Right.
Because they want to get the division. And
no, these last couple of weeks are going to be meaningful.
Seattle wants that game because they want the number one seed. So, like, both these games are going to be a lot of energy from both teams.
I don't think anybody in the NFL right now or any division in the NFL has locked up their division, have they?
Denver.
Did Denver lock it up?
They have a 3-game lead with 3 games left.
Yeah.
They pretty much have to lose out.
Nobody's saying Darnold's elite.
Hey, Rob, if you're not sold on him long term, I'll take him back in Minnesota. You can just kind of throw him aside. We'll take him back.
Oh, you should have heard Rob at the bar last night. Like he was ultimate hater status.
Hey, if you don't want him in Seattle, you just get rid of the other.
Halfway through it, I was pretty sure he wasn't even a Seahawk fan. Like not the Dustin. Let me just switch teams halfway through. But
give me Darnold. We'll
definitely hating.
We'll take Darnold off your hands, Rob. If you're not sold on him, I'll bring him back. I'll take him back in Minnesota.
Oh man, yeah, I bet you would take him back, man. Y'all should have never got rid of him. That was dumb on y'all's part.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, let's talk about it. I feel like you got pent up anger that needs to be talked about in terms of that.
This is almost the getting rid of him, even though it's not in the same wavelength. But getting rid of him is probably the dumbest decision that organization made besides the Herschel Walker trade.
Yeah,
like you had.
I want to talk about it.
You had a guy in your building that actually ran the Kevin O'Connell offense better than Kirk Cousins. A guy that's still 27 years old, who was a former number 3 pick in the draft, that wasn't going to demand the same kind of money that some of these quarterbacks are demanding. Like, you had your guy in the building. It's just like, well, I used the number 10 pick on McCarthy. We have to play him after not seeing a single snap last year.
Hey, stat guy, I gotta tell you though, hey, that was like that trade for you guys for Minnesota, dude. Y'all didn't get nothing out of that trade.
No.
Like zero. And then you'll wind up trading Herschel and got rid of Herschel 2 years later after that trade.
And then the other
that was like the worst trade ever for you guys.
The other dumb move was getting rid of Randy Moss, and we got rid of him. Sending him to the Raiders for, I think, 2 picks, and it was a second and a third round pick. And I don't think either one of them played more than 2 years in Minnesota. So essentially we got rid of him for nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
It's gonna be frustrating to be a Vikings fan because y'all have gotten so close on a couple of teams and just have not been able to get there.
That's why our trophy case is empty, because every time we have a good core group of players, or like a good player, instead of trying to build around that player, we decide to trade that player.
Damn, hold on. Oh, somebody did a shot at the pack. Oh, Robert came out swinging on that one. Robert, please. Tell us who you're referring to. I'm thinking it might be Stat and God.
Dustin, that's why I made the comment. That being said, that does get us to the top of the hour.
What a time to be alive,
We
man.
appreciate it. For those of you that came out for our Toys for Tots events, thanks for the donations. We're delivering all those toys today, so
Awesome.
that'll be awesome. Other than that, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you all Monday. Take it easy, everybody.
Get your Christmas shopping done.
It's not done yet.
Birds. Screw the birds.